Yo, what's going on, guys? You got Ace here, bringing you week 5 of the NPL Minors. This week we face off against Frieslander, who, I actually like this guy's content a lot. I watch all of his videos on YouTube. He makes some pretty solid meme videos. But we play him in a match this week, and he's no slouch of a player. He hasn't had very good minor seasons, but he's done well in other leagues, and it's partly because of how he drafts, I think. But I have a bad draft too, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'll get into the teams. His team is Mega Gardevoir, Infernape, Tyranitar, Scizor, Gliscor, Goodra, Gengar, Blastoise, Lickilicky, Electrode, which is a Zmon, and Leafeon, which is a Zmon. So, right off the bat, I noticed that, as you can see, the first mon, Lucario, has a very, very good matchup. It's a fully physical, not fully physical, but physical Lucario with HP Ice. This way, if I'm running Ice Punch, I do more to physically defensive Gliscor. So, the mixed coverage helps me a lot there. Very, self-explanatory set. I got E-Speed for Infernape, got Bullet Punch for Mega Guard, and Close Combat hits pretty much everything else. So, yeah, his fighting resists are not very good. It's only Mega Guard, really. And Gengar, I guess, but I have Bullet Punch for Gengar as well, which does quite a bit. Next, I have Scarf Moxie Crook. I'm finally bringing Moxie over Intimidate. I think I brought Moxie last week too, but it's only because neither ability was very good that week. I got Moxie. This thing is able to sweep his team as long as he doesn't bring Leafeon. He does not have a good EQ knockoff switching except for Gliscor, which I'm hoping to take out early with a number of different things, but I have ways to take advantage of Gliscor with this team decently well. So, pretty standard Scarf Moxie Crook set, EQ knockoff, Pursuit Stealth Rock. Crook can't really hit Gliscor for much anyway. I would have run a set that could hit Gliscor, but one does not exist. So, we have another potential win con. See, my plan for this team wasn't super well thought out. Like, I didn't build around one specific win con. I sort of just brought a bunch of win cons, which made it a little bit difficult to wear down his team, as you'll see in the actual match. But we have a Belly Drum Citrus Azumarill here, which is able to sweep his team except for that Leafeon, but the rest of his team just straight up dies to it. Except I'll need to get a little bit of chip damage on Goodra so it dies to Aqua Jet, but that should be pretty easy to do with this team since most of my team is physical. So as you can see, I actually have a physical Flying EMZ Thundurus here. This baits both Goodra and Mega Guard. The max attack Flying EMZ does OHKO most Mega Guards. If he's Fat Guard, only a little bit of chip, but he won't be able to OHKO me with anything. I can go for like a Volt Switch on the next turn and kill it. In mocks, people have scouted for this set, but those people knew that I was bringing it, so I'm not sure whether he will scout for that or not going into the game. I guess he could, possibly fearing a Z Sludge Wave, but we'll see. I next have Scarf Darmanitan. I'm bringing like full Hyper Offense this week because his bulk doesn't have very good recovery, so if I'm able to wear down a lot of his mons, I'm able to put in a lot of work with mons like like the Belly Drum Azumarill. This Scarf Darm, his fire resists are T-Tar, which I have superpower for, Ape, which doesn't count, Goodra, which doesn't count, Blastoise, which I can U-turn on take advantage of with mons like Thundurus, Azumarill, mons like that. And those are all his fire resists, so Flare Blitz is going to be doing quite a chunk to anything he wants to switch in. And finally I have Golbat. This mon is sort of like the glue to my team. Like, if I need to switch into a Hyper Voice and pivot out on a Psychic, if I need to get off a Toxic on the Licky because it's able to wall decent amount of my team very well. But I'm not able to get Lucario in for free. Mostly they're just Toxic his fat things and pivot out with U-turn into more offense. It's a very offensive team I'm bringing this week. It wasn't a super well thought out team. Like I may have underestimated my opponent a little bit going into this matchup, which is 100% my fault. But I also did not spend that much time prepping. I just got a new job. Well, not just got a new job, but it was pretty new when I played this game. I was spending a lot of time getting used to that, but let's get into the match anyways. Let me do a little bit of live editing, as is customary in my videos. So as we can see, he did bring the Leafeon, which I really did not want to see there, because it means that Azumarill is going to have a much harder time sweeping, Crook's going to have a much harder time sweeping, and he did bring the Gliscor. Gliscor, it has a tough time against Megalotti, which is the main reason I didn't quite expect it, but, you know, it could come either way. As you can see, I did not bring the Megalotti because it's pretty well countered by mons like Tyranitar and Mega Gardevoir. And, you know, revenged by stuff like Gengar and stuff like that, and walled by Licky. Just not a good mon this matchup, but which is sort of solid prep on his part, knowing that Megalotti wasn't very good this matchup, so he could bring Gliscor because Megalotti couldn't do much versus the rest of his team. So I decided to lead with Thundy. Thundy was able to beat pretty much any mon on his team 1v1 except possibly the Gengar. If he's a boosting item set, it could be pretty difficult to deal with. So I do lead with the Thundurus, as he leads with the Blastoise. This is perfect for me. I could go for Volt Switch, and his only immunity is 4 times weak to ice, so he's not really going to try to risk that, as he goes right into Licky, get the Volt Switch off, go right into Lucario, and he has no fighting switching except for Gengar, which he doesn't want to risk at this point in the game. So he goes into Blastoise. He takes 1,000,000 from this close combat, which is great for me. Here I considered making a read because he probably doesn't want to sack his Blastoise on turn 3. Like, I probably should have gone for HP Ice here, either expecting Gengar or Gliscor to come in, but I didn't feel like over-predicting on such an early turn. Honestly, with this offensive of a team, I should have been predicting early, because that's the kind of stuff you need to do to win with an offensive team. I'm just not very good at playing offense, I'll admit that right now. So I just go for another close combat, which is a bit of a misplay, as he goes right into Gliscor, and it still does a solid chunk, which reveals he's not a physically defensive set, which means he's out of range of HP Ice if I outspeed him. Because now I'm fearing, 1, that he's a speedy set, 2, that he's Spadef, and either way, he beats me here. So I switch out into Thundy on a potential Earthquake, which is in fact what he goes for. I'm not going to overpredict with this Thundy because it is able to beat pretty much every single mon on his team 1v1. So I can afford to just not predict at all, just go for HP Ice here. As he goes into Licky, and then I can go for the Volt Switch on this following turn, go right into Golbat. Here I'm just trying to Toxic this Licky. As it goes into the Gliscor, I do make that read a little bit, and I go for the U-turn so I can get in my Thundurus again for free. And I can just go for another HP Ice as he goes into his Gardevoir. Here I considered not clicking Z-Fly just in case he scouts for it. I considered for a long time clicking Volt Switch, but I figured that the way I win this match is winning it fast, and if I Volt Switch out on an offensive guard and he goes for a Hyper Voice here, I'm in a really bad spot. So I figure, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna go for Z-Fly right now. If he scouts for it, then that's good on him. If he doesn't, then that's great for me, because getting rid of this guard is gonna be really important for for even just weakening it will be really nice for mons like Golbat to not be pressured quite as much. So I go for the Z-Fly, as he makes the very nice scout and goes right into Gliscor. Still does a decent amount of damage. I've still only hit him on the physical side, so I can't tell whether he's speedy or spadef. But I can go for an HP Ice here on this following turn. As it goes into guard again, and now I can just Volt Switch out. Well, I could just Volt Switch out. He actually forgets to Mega there. It's okay. I go for Fly. Now, at this point, I wasn't sure what kind of guard he was. I could tell he had a lot of HP investment from the HP Ice damage I was doing. But HP Ice does so little damage that to regular guard that it's really hard to tell like what kind of bulk he has. So it was still very possible that he was an offensive set. So I go for Fly here. It's still going to do a ton to offensive guard. As he goes for Wish, which kind of confirms he's bulky guard. And then I miss my Fly, so I miss off on a lot of damage this guard could have taken. I mean, he still would have wished back up to maybe around 60 or something like that. But it would have been nice to have this guard a little weaker for later. So now I'm forced to Volt Switch out. I don't want... Going for Burned Fly isn't what I'm trying to do. As I go into Darmanitan, it's my it's one of my 2 Hyper Voice resists, and I figured he was just going for Wish here anyway. So here I go for the U-turn, expecting Blastoise to come in, because he'll want to Wish that up because it took so much damage from Lucario's close combat earlier. Now I get another Volt Switch. See, the problem with how this is going right here is that I'm still not predicting enough, which means that, like, he's playing very obviously, but I'm playing even more obviously, because I haven't found a reason to predict yet, but I haven't realized, like, I wasn't playing offensively this matchup when I should have been, because when you bring offense, you should try to get off on the right foot and put the opponent on the back foot very early on, but I wasn't doing that. You see, it's turn 16, it's still 6-6. And, you know, he's just going for Wish. He gets a free Wish with guard right here. He still has basically his entire team at full HP. And, you know, my Thundurus is burned. And my Lucario's taking a Life Orb hit. You know, I'm starting to get whittled down a little bit myself. So, it's like, here I can tell it's going to be a long match, which is bad for me. And here my Darmanitan switches into a Psychic. I expected a Wish there, but Psychic really weakens this Darmanitan and makes it not a good late game win con, because if I, you know, take Flare Blitz damage here, I'll be in range of rocks, and once Gliscor sets those up, this Darmanitan will be effectively dead. So he goes into Blastoise here on the Flare Blitz. I figured that even if he switched in Blastoise, I'm still doing a lot to it with 2 Flare Blitzes in a row. Here I considered for a long time going for Flare Blitz a second time, because I need damage on this Blastoise for Crocodile and Azumarill to be able to put in work later, especially if he's like a faster Haze Blastoise. So I considered for a long time going for another Flare Blitz, because this Darmanitan is already very weak and nearly useless at this point anyway. But instead I switch out into Thundurus, and if I had gone for Flare Blitz there, then that would be a dead Gengar, but unfortunately, he gets the prediction right, and I'm getting out offensed when he brought a stall team and I brought an offense team, which is very, very bad for me. So he goes for Sludge Wave here. It takes me out, which reveals that I believe that he's Specs. So I go into Crocodile, I go for Pursuit, and he stays in, which is even worse, because he has 2 chances at Cursed Body, and I'm gonna be locked into Pursuit, so it would have been nice to have like Moxie Knockoff, but instead I have Moxie Pursuit, which is not very good, and now I just have to struggle so he can just get a free turn with whatever Mon. Here I should have switched into Darm because it was very obvious he was going for rocks, but I make the worst play of going into Golbat, especially since Golbat can't really touch this Gliscor. Like, I can just U-turn out, but it's not accomplishing much. I probably should have brought Defog on this Golbat, but I really wanted Toxic on it to help wear down the Lickilicky, because Lickilicky was able to wall pretty much my entire team in one of my mocks. So I put Toxic over Defog on this Golbat because of that. So we stall for a couple turns. So I finally got into Azumarill on a predicted, I believe a Roost. Or no, I slow U-turn out into Azumarill. I go for a Play Rough, predicting his Leafeon, because He'll want to switch it in so he doesn't lose to belly drum. So I go for play rough. It does a decent amount to this Leafeon. From that I can tell he's max defense. But I still do a decent amount, so he's forced to wish here. I go out into Golbat. I don't want to take a grass move. I can threaten him out, so I just go for the U-turn. Again, trying to maintain momentum, because at this point I'm still on the back foot in this match. You know, it's 5v5 and I need to start making more predictions. This Lucario gets a kill here if I'm able to predict his Gliscor. But I don't. He just sacks off his guard because he's scared of me predicting his Gliscor, because his Gliscor is so important in this matchup, being able to take a Flare Blitz from Darm, possibly being able to outspeed my Lucario, taking hits from Crook very well. So he goes out into Gliscor. I still don't want to risk being slower than this, so I go out into Golbat. I can roost a couple times for free. This Golbat is EV'd to be slower than this Gliscor, so I can just roost freely, which is what I do. And now I get a slow U-turn out, which is what I go for. I go right into Azu, and here I'm just going to go for another play rough. If I play rough again, I put Leafeon in range of another play rough, and it can't heal up on the same turn because Leafeon's only recovery is Wish. And if I do, and I am not in range of defensive Leaf Blade, so I go for another play rough here because he's not gonna risk losing to belly drum yet again. So I go for play rough, but he pulls out the Z Leaf Blade, and this is when I know I've lost the game, because pretty much all my win cons are dead except Scarf Crook, and Scarf Crook is my worst win con versus what's left alive. So it's mostly in part to how badly I've played this battle so far. It was a mistake to play so safely with Thundy earlier. It was a mistake to not switch Darman on rocks. It was a mistake to not double Flare Blitz on the Blastoise. Just mistake after mistake. I don't believe it was a mistake to stay in with Azumarill here, because even though Leafeon was one of its Z-Mons, I wasn't really expecting it on a defensive set, which was good on Fries because, or Freeze, whichever, because it did catch me off guard there. And it catches me off guard yet again because I make another back-breaking misplay here. I send in Crook because I'm calcing versus Leafeon and knockoff kills, and it's like, okay, I can go for knockoff. He has no Dark Resist left. I get a Moxie boost. I can do massive damage to the next Mon who comes in. But the problem was that he's not a knockoff range because he's a Z Crystal variant. So I go for knockoff here, and he goes for Wish, and I'm just like, okay, I've lost. You don't need to tell me anymore, game. I know I've lost at this point, and at this point it's just going through the motions because I can't break his Gliscor plus Leafeon at this point. As you can see, he just wishes right up to full, and I cannot pressure this thing, and I cannot pressure this Gliscor because he did bring a variant that's faster than my Lucario, and my Darmanitan dies to rock, so this Gliscor will end up just 1v1ing the rest of my team. He sacks off Blastoise there, but it doesn't matter because he's faster than my Lucario. And there we go. That is week 5. I don't think my prep was that bad. I don't think it was good. I think my play in that game was really what cost me. Luckily, even though it was sort of a back-breaking loss, it was not a high differential loss. In my opinion, my game against Ethan last week was a lot closer than this one, even though that was a 4-0 loss for me. So right now we are at 3-2, and my differential is 0. So I am actually still second in the league. I believe I'm tied with whoever replaced Andrew. I forget. I think it might have been Turk. So I am tied for second. And next week I play against, I believe in standings I am actually above whoever's tied with me because we haven't played, and I have a higher alphabetic team name. So next week I play Techno, and he is division leader. He is 4-1, I believe, like +7 or something like that. And basically, whoever wins that game, if it's like more than 3-0 or 4-0, will be first in division. Like, if I win that game and keep winning, I will be the conference champion. So that game is easily the most important game of the season for me. So, because not only will it mean a win for me, it'll mean a loss for Techno. So we're really trying to get that win versus Techno next week, and I will see you then, because I'm going to do a lot much better prepping. I'll think through my plays a lot better in that game, and hopefully we'll be able to pull out the win. Alright, see you guys next time. Bye.